Hello, I am Ant, and welcome to my track guide of the Nordic Arena. T-180 focused Assetto Corsa mod. Before I show you the lap, I'll show you my setup. Only things change the default of the gears, which are the final drive has been pumped up to the maximum because you'll want all that top speed in and then you'll limit out halfway through the lap. Tires are default, fuel is default, ABS is default, aero, the stabilizer angle is down to 5. This is just default really. I don't quite understand why. I think the grip's a little better, certainly over jumps, which won't apply for this track. It drags the car down to the ground more, which is quite handy because less airtime gooder. The damper's the same. Be the same. If you're on an Xbox controller or something, this rotation range here, you'll want it up to 180. Makes the car easier to control. It can be very tricky since you don't need much rotation to turn the car a lot. I am on real, I suck it up on 90. Works for me, but playing around with it. Generic is the same, and then here the yaw rate power. At high speed, the car can be quite jittery. I'll say it shakes a lot from left to right, so you might want to turn this down. The car will turn a little less, but it'll just be more stable at high speeds. I suck it up, it's fine. Just keep driving, it'll fix itself, but maybe you don't want to deal with that. So onto the lap. As you come off the last corner here onto the main track to start your lap, you want to start braking a little after the pitman. Where exactly is a bit hard to judge, there's not much to go off of. What you want to do is bring the car right to the outside here, stay on the curb. You want to stay on the curb, I reckon, in the turn. I don't do this and I lose a lot of speed. I drop to about 330 k's, you can probably take that at least 380, probably more. And of course on the throttle, on the thrust as soon as you can. This left-hander is easy flat, as is the corkscrew. I think on the corkscrew you want to hold 5th until you get the corkscrew starts coming back downhill, then so you delay the shift a little from 5th to 6th. Then as you dive down from the corkscrew, you want to aim for the apex here on the right hand side. Right as you get to the middle of the dip, you slam on the brakes and then shift down into 2nd as quick as you can. The engine braking in this car helps a lot. If you're slow with the gear shifts, you will not make the corner. Again, bring it right up into the outside of the curb here. Stay on that curb because you get the extra banking. You can keep a lot of extra speed. Again, you can take it a little faster than 210, but it's fine as long as you get onto that thruster quickly. And then this right-hander here is flat. The line you take doesn't really matter as long as you don't turn too sharply and brush off speed. Holding the outside is probably better. I find it safe to just late apex dive it here. The curb will save you anyway. This next left-hander is easy flat, but make sure you exit the corner on the left-hand side. You want to open up this quick flick of a right-hand as much as you can. Dab on the brakes, down a gear. Keep the car on the ground. If you catch air here, you're flying off to the left-hand side. Drag the car back over to the right for the back ring. It doesn't really matter what side of the road you approach on, it's his personal preference, but make sure you bring the car back to the left hand side for this very tricky late apex double apex right hander. Keep it up on the curb. You can see I have 2 stabs at the turn in there. I don't believe this is optimal, but it's a very tricky corner. It wrecks your confidence a lot. Stay on the thruster the whole way through. That is critical because the thruster just helps so much with the cornering to keep the car in the road there. Of course, this next bit is flat. Again, hold the shift from 5th to 6th until the exit of this left-hander here. It turns left a lot on exit actually, but again, you want to make sure you're on the left here as you exit this section. And as it flattens out onto the brakes, down to 5th, down to 4th, apex this right-hander here, but you want to bring the car back to the right-hand side as soon as you can because you want to ride this curb. This long, very satisfying to get right left-hander, but again, easy to enter a bit too low, carry a bit too much speed in and fly off the course. My minimum speed was about for 25k's, you can definitely take that at least 440 minimum speed. And again, on the thruster the whole time through, even if you're not on throttle. And then up to fifth momentarily, and then back down to fourth, back down to third. Again, same thing. Stay on the curb here on the left hand side. Keep it high as you dare. I go down to about 320 here. You can carry a bit more speed than that, but again, it's an easy corner to get scared, turn down a bit too low, and that throws you off the course because the car on the flatter section of the corner just drifts up too wide. You go off, but after this quite satisfying downhill switchback section, you get a bit of a break. You get this big helix where you get to your top speed of this gear ratio is about 850k's. And as you exit the helix at top speed, you want to start braking for this long left-hand helix a little after the bridge. Bring the car over to the right-hand side, down to probably about 600k's. I, again, wussed out a bit here. I don't ride the curve the whole way, and you can probably take a bit extra speed. But again, it's trying to turn the car as little as possible. Use the banking as much as you can. Keep the car high. Force thruster on the whole time while you're turning. And then down the hill here and brace yourself for certainly the most daunting part of the track. I would think this very tight corkscrew into this very awkward left-hander. I approach on the left-hand side here. I think the approach is a little less awkward. I am actually off the throttle here and the thruster. I roll the whole thing through the corkscrew, and then on the brakes as I exit, dive into this right-hander here, into this very quite annoying left-hander. I'm personally not quite sure the exact route to do, but what I do is just slow down the thing a lot, keep it low, and then I use this flat curb here to try and just throttle the thruster up as soon as I can. Use the outside curve to catch me. You're kind of aiming for where the track compresses a bit more severely than usual. And after this gentle left-hander into this long right-hander, which is flat, but scary flat. Certainly a bit more time to be gained than what I took through it. You want to be on this curve the whole time. I turned down a little bit, probably scrub off a bit extra speed, but it's easy if you try riding the curve the whole way to just fly off. You don't turn enough. Now, this section here is the last big challenge in the lap. You want to approach this overbank in the middle of the corner. I'm actually off the thruster for this initial bit. I've had clipping issues in the past. But right after that first big twist, you flick the car to the left, full throttle, back on the thruster as you can, down this another compression. Then as the uphill starts, you're onto the brakes, down into fifth, down into fourth. Ride this curb here. I go down to about 450k. You can probably take this a bit quicker. But again, on the thrust as soon as you can. Down to fifth. But not to sixth, because you are braking just a little after the underpass here. Hit the limiter. Down to fourth. Down to third if you can. I get overshift protected and do not get to third. Again, I dive low here. You probably can take the high line, but it flattens a lot. It scares me, so I like to avoid it to stay on the road here. And again, you approach here on the right hand side, just a quick dab on the brakes and then really throw the car in. Maybe take third if you can. Just, yeah, really chuck it in. You don't have to keep it high the whole time. It's just on approach. You can carry a shit ton of speed through there, and then that's a lap of Nordic Arena. Prepared to do it all again quickly, because that first braking zone comes up on you quick. So now that you've looked at all the sectors in detail, let's put a full speed lap together. I hope you have found this guide useful, and I'll see you around.